The 2027 recruiting cycle in college softball is about to officially begin, and the number one target for the Sooners just had one of the best seasons in Oklahoma high school softball history. It was so good, she just tied the state record for home runs, and she did it as a sophomore. By the time her high school career is over, it may not be a stretch at all to say she's one of the greatest high school softball players to ever come out of the state of Oklahoma. Oh, and by the way, she has an amazing nickname as well. Juliana Hutchens, better known as Goose, just might be the best player in the country in the 2027 class, and she's an in-state kid from Wagoner, Oklahoma. Softball America has her rated as the number 2 overall player for 2027, and Extra Innings has her ranked as the number 1 catcher in the class. In fact, seemingly every single service that puts out recruiting rankings has her ranked as the best catcher in the class. Quickly, please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, turn on those notifications so you know instantly every single time I drop an OU softball video, whether it's recruiting, whether it's fall ball coming up, awesome one-on-one interviews that we have. We do it all covering OU softball. Please subscribe today. If you haven't already, join our growing community in the comment section. Okay, a lot to discuss with the player of Goose's caliber. How good is she really? Is she going to commit to OU? But let's first get to that awesome nickname of Goose. How did she get that? Well, for such a fun and unique nickname, it's actually a pretty simple story. She recently said, quote, "One of my first softball teams I was on had 2 Julianas. So I was called Juju 2, which eventually became Goose." Okay, simple enough, but that nickname has definitely stuck. Goose Hutchens is a name you really need to know and really need to pay attention to with the month of September approaching. Why is that important? Why is the month of September important? Well, because starting on September 1st, players in the 2027 class can receive scholarship offers. It also means that players can start taking official and unofficial visits to schools, and it's also the date that coaches can start to have communication with these players. So it's a very big date. It's a very important date. It also means that as of now, Goose Hutchens does not formally have a scholarship offer to Oklahoma. But don't doubt for a second that that's going to happen. It's going to happen very, very soon for Goose. Look, make no mistake about it. Goose will be an extremely high priority for OU this recruiting cycle. And she absolutely should be. Like, she's that special of a talent, and I'll tell you more just how incredible of a softball player she already is here moving forward. But I've heard that this staff really, really wants her in the 27 class, and that this staff believes she's going to do something very special in her career playing college softball. What seems to come up the most is how incredible of a hitter she is, especially her power at the plate. Now, OU recruits a lot of players that have a lot of power, but it feels like Goose could be different. And I think that's what we're talking about here, guys. Someone that's just different from the rest. To my understanding, it is absolutely fair to say that OU staff is incredibly high on Goose Hutchens. Now, they haven't told me that directly. Nobody on the coaching staff has come up to me, nor would they, and say, hey, we really, really want Goose Hutchens. And I don't want it to be presented that way. But there's people that I trust, people that know what they're talking about, that say, yeah, trust me on this one. OU really, really wants her in the 2027 class. And when you look at the numbers, when you look at the film, when you hear about how great of a kid that she is, it's easy to see why OU wants her. She fits everything that they want in a softball player. And I also think it's interesting to note, and yes, Goose being from Oklahoma, I do think has an impact on this, but I've never heard so much about a player so early on in her high school career. I don't know about you guys, but I've been hearing about how special of a player Goose is for around a year now. And she's just now going into her junior year of high school. She's just now going into her junior year of high school, and she's already tied the state record for home runs in a season. And here's the thing. I don't think it's crazy at all to think that at some point she's going to outdo her own record at least once in her remaining 2 years at Wagoner High School. But at the same time, it's not going to be easy. It's not necessarily going to be easy because she's already set the bar so high for herself. Like, listen to these stats from her sophomore year of high school. You know about the state record, tied the state record, 23 home runs. These numbers are on 127 plate appearances in 36 games, which, by the way, 58 of those were walks, by the way. A .656 batting average, .835 on-base percentage, an OPS of 2.769, slugging percentage of 1.94. She had 45 RBIs in those 36 games, and she scored 70 times. 40 total hits for Goose her sophomore year. 8 of those were singles, 9 of those were doubles, and 23 of those were home runs. So her season in a nutshell is basically most people were too scared to pitch to her, and the teams that did pitch to her, well, she just hammered a softball over the wall for a home run. Just absolutely insane numbers all the way around. And by the way, if it wasn't already impressive enough, that incredible season came on the heels of her freshman year where she didn't even play. She was sidelined by a knee injury where she tore her meniscus and she tore her ACL. Serious injury, very serious injury. And then she came back and had a season like that. Pretty incredible stuff. Like, not just to have those numbers, but to post those numbers a year after having such a serious knee injury. If you guys can't tell, I'm high on her. I think she's great. How about another opinion? How about a scouting report on Goose? Now, remember, everything you hear, she's still early, still young in her high school career, still a lot of time to develop. She is a coach's kid, which I love. Her dad coaches her high school fast pitch team, so more room to develop. But here's what extra inning softball is already saying about Goose. Juliana Goose Hutchens is a standout player whose talent and performance have resulted in her being named the top catcher in the class of 2027 Extra Elite 100 rankings. Competing successfully at the highest level of 18U travel softball, Goose's prowess behind the plate and at bat sets her apart from her peers, many of whom played 14U last summer. Goose has demonstrated exceptional catching abilities, having caught pitches from elite pitchers such as Tegan Cavan and Alyssa Houston. Her catching skills are already comparable to those of a Division I catcher. She has an overhand velocity of 72 miles per hour and an impressive exit velocity of 85 miles per hour. Metrics that are typically seen at the elite Division I level. Goose also boasts an average pop time of 1.62 seconds, ranking her at the top of her class. Offensively, Goose is one of the top hitters in the country, hitting over 500 last year. Her ability to excel both offensively and defensively underscores her all-around talent and makes her a formidable force on the field. Goose's combination of elite defensive skills, powerful hitting, and consistent performance at the highest level of competition sets her apart as one of the top players in the nation, regardless of class. As she continues to develop, Goose is poised to continue making a significant impact in the world of softball. So it's one thing for me to come on here and tell you how awesome Goose is and to show you some highlights here and there and read off some numbers. That's someone that's actually out there scouting, putting out scouting reports. And I'm just talking about her offense for the most part, because that's mainly what I've been hearing about how special of a player she is. I didn't even necessarily get into her abilities behind the plates. But you heard Extra Inning Softball talk about the incredible pop time and how great she is defensively along with that offense. And though catcher might be her best position, it's not the only position that she can play. Sounds like she's played third base, a lot of third base before, so maybe she can be a corner infielder, but ranked as the #1 catcher, it seems like that position is definitely her bread and butter. Did you know Goose played and also starred in the Little League Softball World Series? She did. And she led her team in 2021, Green Country Little League, based out of Muskogee, to the championship. The first ever team from Oklahoma to win the Little League Softball World Series, Goose Hutchens was a part of. And not only was she a part of the team, she was the star of the team. And she did it with home runs like this. Pitches down at her shin and still able to crush the ball over the wall. She's just different. Like, kids, not a lot of softball players can do that, but especially at that age. I'm just telling you, she's different. Been hitting towering home runs for a long, long time, but really cool that she's already had big moments like this so early in her softball career. Goose was also selected for the USA Softball U18 team and will compete in the WBSC World Cup in Oklahoma City this fall. She'll be there with Kiele Ho-Ching, E.K. Smith, and Peyton Westra. Actually, players that are a year ahead of her, so more proof about how good that Goose Hutchens actually is. And by the way, on the roster, Goose is listed as an infielder, not a catcher. Again, she does have the ability to play corner infield spot and that experience at third base, and maybe she still ends up catching for USA Softball, but just something else to note. But we're going to see her in about a month playing for USA Softball in Oklahoma City, which you know I'll be covering, and that's going to be really, really cool. But the biggest question of all, okay, Tyler, this is all great. She's really good, maybe even elite. She's a great kid, coach's kid. But is she going to commit to OU? Well, it's a different day and age of college softball. I think we all know that. Meaning, as we've seen, teams are not afraid to pay a lot of money to a player they think is really good. Might Goose be one of those players in the recruiting process? Yeah, I think she absolutely might be. I don't think that there's a secret out there about how good of a player that Goose Hutchens is. So there's no telling if a Texas Tech tries to come in and make a ridiculous offer to her to get her commitment this fall. Like I said earlier, OU really wants her. And I think they'll put themselves in the best position possible to get her. This is an Oklahoma kid that might be the best player in the 2027 class. She might be the best player in the country. And it's also key to note that she already has a relationship with the staff after being at OU camps before. You see the photos here. Goose is also a Kinsey Hansen fan. Grew up watching Kinsey Hansen play. Doesn't hurt your chances that she could play at the same spot, play at the same position. Maybe someone that she looked up to growing up played at. But the biggest hint as to what Goose might be thinking right now came from Line Drive Media when she said this.
Now, you live in Oklahoma.
Yes, sir.
Is it a sure bet you're going to be a Sooner, or are you going to look and explore your options?
Explore my options. Definitely want to have fun with it. Don't try to rush anything.
Okay.
So that's a small video clip. She says that she's really going to kind of weigh her options there. All right, yeah, and she should. But look, guys, OU and Patty Gasso will be really tough to beat in this recruitment, just like they are in every single other recruitment. We see what the recruiting rankings are year in and year out. I'm not going to issue any predictions today, but this is a recruitment that I will be following very, very seriously, and one that I think is very important for OU's 2027 class. Because if OU gets Goose, I'm telling you guys, it's going to be a big deal. It's going to be a big deal on this channel. It's going to be a big deal on social media. It's going to be a big deal with all the other OU softball fans you talk about. Maybe you're just now getting to know her today, but if OU gets Goose, you're going to hear about it. I promise you that. We're used to OU getting great players. Yes, she will not be the first. But the things that are being said about Goose, just telling you guys, gets me really, really excited about what she might be in the future. So yes, you can absolutely count on me following her and following her big decision, whenever that is. But we'll definitely be following that. All right, guys, appreciate you as always. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on those notifications if you haven't already. OU softball, it's what we do here. As always, guys, Appreciate you watching.